Entertainment Podcast. It's a Canadian Entertainment Podcast. It's a Canadian Entertainment Podcast. It's a Canadian Entertainment Podcast. It's the Canadian Entertainment Podcast, hosted by Ben Stagger.
Canadian Entertainment Podcast fans, what is up? We are so back. I am panting. So sorry for the delay of no new episode for some time. November, it flies away faster than a Canadian goose who has the heart of a cheetah. And that's trademarked. Now, thank you so much for coming back. As always, as you might have noticed, there is no snickering of or breathing of another guest that you might not recognize. No stranger to introduce to you all. We are doing a throwback episode. The headphones are back. I'm wearing a hat. It is a solo episode. And no, not a Han Solo. Han Solo's not the guest. I'm bombing off the top, but it's okay. No, okay. I just want to say that, but thank you so much for coming back. Thank you for the supporters. I've tried already recording this like probably about 4 times, but I keep on canceling it because I feel like I'm not getting the mic level right, the pictures off, but I just have to go through with this one. And that is what we will do. But I cannot bore you for too long with the behind-the-scenes stuff. However, there are some people out there who enjoy the behind-the-scenes stuff. Studies show that kids these days would rather watch a YouTube video about a movie behind the scenes than an actual full movie. And someone told me that, but I also feel the same way sometimes. I'm so sorry if this is... No, I was about to cancel the recording again, but I'm not going to. I'm sorry, guys. I've just been, I just gotta breathe easy. Sometimes I forget to let my stomach soften, as I've read in a couple books, including The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, that cute little man. Oh, he's so cute. I'd love to have him on the podcast and just count to 4 and whatever. Anyways, I think he's Canadian too, so yes. Anyways, or maybe not. Oh, I don't know if I pronounced his name right. But I would love to interview him on a toll road. The 407 in Ontario. That would be quite funny. I don't know if we have any other toll roads in Ontario, but let's hope we don't get any more. But it would be cool, and maybe if I ever become premier, which to the people in the audience, that is essentially a senator, as we've said before in other places. Maybe I'm wrong. Or Congress, I don't know. But if I ever started a new toll road in Ontario, Canada, Ontario's kind of like the New York State of Canada, is kind of like the whatever county London is in England. You know what I'm saying. But if I ever got to start a toll road, it'd be so cool, because you'd be driving, you're like, great, we're on a toll road. And then they get to the toll where there's these toll officers, and you roll down your window and you get your payment out and whatever. And then the toll person kind of looks at you and they're like, and you're like, what? And they're like, aren't you gonna say trick or treat? And my tolls, they give you candy if you say trick or treat, and that will save this province a lot of money if we get candy toll roads, where the toll people give you candy after you say trick or treat. Wow. That was an amazing story. I had to tell you. Sorry, I'm trying not to be too down on myself. I'm sorry for the lack of podcasts. I'm sorry for the lack of guests. We gotta see if I can do it again. I gotta do another solo show. I'm preparing for a Fringe play where I do the Canadian Entertainment Podcast live, and this is actually word for word dialogue of that Fringe play. It's called Canadian Entertainment Podcast, episode 19, and I want to tour it all over the world, but specifically in Ireland Fringe. Okay. Yeah, sorry. I keep on going off on tangents. I'm sorry for the lack of podcasts. Been a lot of things going on. I've been breaking my back. Because in Canadian entertainment, you do everything. You podcast. You sometimes are in sketch comedy groups. You sometimes are a musician. You sometimes perform stand-up comedy. You sometimes milk a cow's udder, right? But my other additional thing I've been doing lately has been raking leaves. So I've been raking lots of leaves, and the leaves are coming down and they won't stop. But when I see leaves on the ground, at least I know I'm getting paid, right? By my Patreon subscribers, I actually have a Patreon for my leaf picking. I go under a different work name for my I have a stage name for work, but I consider this work as well, but for my other work, and I get paid via Patreon for my leaf raking. Anyways, well, that's not exactly true, but I was just having some fun with my imagination there. But yeah, so I've been raking a lot of leaves lately, and they can be rather backbreaking, especially after a cold November rain, as my buddy W. Axl Rose once said. But he doesn't talk about that, but I would love him to make a sequel song where he talks about the soggy maple leaves and nothing like the leaves that get so soggy, but we both know hearts can change. Would be a cool lyric in a sequel song. Sometimes people write sequel songs. The only one that comes to mind is a guy that is in jail, so I'm not even going to mention it. Anyways. Okay. Anyways. Oh, yeah. So thank you for tuning back in. This is an epic solo episode. So there's been a lot of our stuff going on between the leaf raking. My neck and back has been hurting. I'm not trying to complain too much. I'm just trying to tell you what's going on in my life. Not that I'm lifting the leaves improperly. It is just that the van we have, I have to duck down with the heavy leaf bag, so that I don't know what else I could do. Maybe I should start drop kicking them. Okay. So that's been going on. Been doing a lot of work with Hilarity Strikes, Sketch Troupe, with Nathan Hare and Sam Burns. But we've been finishing up our fall tour. The tour has been going on so long. Now I finally get Adam's Song by Blink-182. I will get it on Saturday after our tour finale show at Teddy Beer in Toronto, AI teddy bear type bar. I will understand Adam's Song because they say tour was over, we survived, so I'm not sure if I've survived yet. Yeah, scratching myself. So we'll find out if I survive. I don't know. I hope I do, and I hope everyone's doing okay. Um, yeah. But that's been a lot of fun. But you know what? Another thing, and I mean, this podcast has only been going on since May or June, but this happened to me last year, where I was having a really I don't know. I was having an interesting summer or whatever. I was performing, I think, comedy quite a bit. But then the fall hit, and I got really into making, music. Oh, oh. Sometimes, sometimes I feel embarrassed about saying that because I perceive people. I have a lot of conversations about what people might say, and I know it probably is all selfish, right? But like sometimes I'm like, think people might be like, oh, great, this guy who this this oh this IG this yeah this IG Reels guy who goes to who goes to um uh, places in Southern Ontario, makes music too. Oh, anyways, so sometimes I think that, but I've just been like becoming quite obsessive with making songs on the piano. Some with some's without lyrics as well, and I wish I could be more healthy about it because sometimes I feel like when I get in these really obsessed sort of moods with music or whatever, um, yeah, sometimes I just don't feel as sometimes I don't feel like I'm as quick witted in other senses. So that is why I want Neuralink. That is why I want a second brain. And that is why I want to participate in a trial study for super nasty mocha chocolate. Yeah. Uh, um. Yeah. A case study. I want to participate in a case study. Um. I just essentially want more access to my brain, right? Because I hear we only use like about 10% of it, probably 5% in Canada. Inflation, right? So I really want access to a study where I can unlock more parts of my brain so I am quicker to be quick-witted when performing my content and my content on stage and while performing my content music, right? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think I'm just going I think I'm just going through a philosophical moment, crisis, but I don't want to complain too much. I'm not trying to I'm just saying, and I just hate I know the answer is probably do Canadian meditation, do meditation, do Canadian entertainment meditation. I've been trying, but I'm not up to the numbers I was doing last year. Uh, Also, though, I was at Boys cover band. Um, I was at Beach Boys cover band concert, Canadian Beach Boys cover band, the Beach Men, on Saturday, and a number of friends of the show who are on the same mind altering ADHD medication as me, who are on the generic version, as I am, have been saying that it has been giving them weird anxiety and panic. But the problem is it costs so much cheaper than the name brand. But the question we have to ask ourselves is this why I've been feeling a certain type of way recently? And I don't know the answer to that question, but that's quite possible. But yeah, man, sometimes I just am able to psych myself out a little bit, and I want to try stop psyching myself out. And yeah, because sometimes when my mind gets so music obsessed, all I can hear in my head is just a piano playing. Yeah, I just hear these little melodies. Other times I'm just like, well, what am I doing? Why do I even bother making music sometimes? Because I guess sometimes when I perform live, I'm like, oh, man, how do you separate one thing from the other? But that's something I got to figure out. I just have to be a bit more braver. I need to be brave. And then, yeah, part of me is like, well, oh, that's a lot of pressure. But then I can handle the pressure. I'm just having a moment right now. Yep. This might be unreleasable. Yeah, but I don't think so. I just, well, thank you, Canadian Entertainment Podcast supporters. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I've just also been really obsessively on Facebook Marketplace. I know it sounds crazy, but yeah, I'm thinking about, and maybe I'll censor this out, but I'm thinking about getting a 4-track recorder. And you know what? I'm just letting you know here, I'm not going to make a big deal about it if I release any music on it, because yes, I know a lot of people, I'm not trying to be different. I'm not going to, I'm not trying to be, I know a lot of people use it. I'm not trying to say I'm being unique. I just feel like I've been having a lot of issues with my interface, and I do enjoy tips, and maybe that's lame to say, or maybe, because it used to be, or maybe it still is cool to some people, but maybe it's lame to other people. I do enjoy them. I'm not going to try and make a big deal about it. I'm really not. I've been having some issues with my digital interface, and this keyboard I've been using, I've been getting a lot of harmonic distortion, and I think I want to try 4-tracking, and maybe we'll 4-track this podcast and release them as cassettes to my Patreon Leaf people. But yeah, the answer is I need to meditate in a meaningful way. I was just also having a lot of bad dreams last week that were affecting me throughout the day. I guess I've just been on the edge recently, and is that off-brand ADHD medication, which I am not abusing, by the way. I use it just as prescribed by my doctor, but I got to talk to my doctor, but she recently moved practices. But I did email to get moved to her new practice, but it is a little far away, so I don't know if I'm ever going to see her again, but I will. I'll give her a call. Yeah, and we'll talk about a lot of fun stuff. But yeah, this episode's just real, right? I just but I try not to complain too much, because I think I have a history of complaining. Maybe I have a history of complaining in things I release, uh, such as songs, such as ways I talk on the stage. I'm trying not to complain about because I feel like a lot of things. I think I just am fighting a lot of personal arguments in my head, and I sincerely hope I'm not possessed. But sometimes I do. Yeah, I hope that there's not a demon inside me. I need to get exercise. And I just mean that, because sometimes I wonder when like you have like something inside your head being like, oh, you suck, or like you are a loser. Sometimes I wonder if that's a demon, or if that's an evil force. And the answer is probably meditation. Another thing is that I would like to tell you about is that years ago, so I guess I'm just trying to tell you what's up, you know? I guess for years ago, there's a couple of years where I wasn't on any medication at all, but I had been on medication years before that. And I stopped taking that medication, and then I didn't go on medication for a number of years. And then I felt really insane at one point. So I decided to go on medication again, specifically anti-depression / anti-anxiety drug. And I was on it for a while, and then I was on way too high of a dose, lowered it down, but then I was like also wanted to take care of my ADHD, I guess. So I went on an ADHD medication, right? But I was also going to therapy during the meantime, during these things. But now since I'm on anti-anxiety medication and ADHD medication, which kind of gives me anxiety, it's like if I stop taking all these medications with consulting my doctor, would that not just be the exact same feeling that I feel without it? Because like does the anti-anxiety like isn't those two opposite things, and isn't that the way I used to feel, is how you got to ask yourself. But anytime I've tried to stopping at least one of them, I feel like I've become quite irritable. However, I feel quite irritable right now. I'm just trying to just lay it on all the line for you, my Canadian entertainment podcast listeners. And I do consider the Canadian pharmaceutical companies a form of Canadian podcasting, because let's not forget that there's 2 Canadian podcasts about the major pharmaceutical company head who has a cold case, and he was him and his wife were most likely murdered. So that is why it's a form of podcasting. And I am on 2 generic medications potentially supplied by a generic company who that guy used to own. So, and there's 2 podcasts about that. And now I'm talking about, so yes, it is a form of Canadian podcasting or Canadian entertainment. So this all relates. I'm sorry I'm in such a tone. This is a slowcore podcast, or I don't know. Yeah, but this has happened to me quite a number of times. I don't even want to manifest anything I'm saying by saying it out loud. But I also, I stopped, a couple months ago. I also stopped going to therapy a couple months ago. I've been going to therapy to the same person since 2017 or 2018. Just getting a bit too expensive, and I honestly felt like sometimes I was just like ranting and raving and not really doing too many strategies. And I don't know if I think But yeah, I don't know. But I'm not as I'm not. I'll be okay. I've been. I've been. It's not that I feel like really, really bad. I think I just feel a little stressed, a little on edge, a little not as quick as I used to be. Maybe a couple months ago. But also, I'm my own harshest critic. I just need to get outside my head. I need to mind project, and I need to be able to do remote viewing. So if anyone is able to remote view and wants to come on the podcast and we could do a live remote viewing, I would like to go to the moon perhaps, or visit under the sea somewhere, under the ocean. I'd like to go where the Titanic submersible went, because that happened in Canadian waters, I believe. I'd like to go down there when we remote view, which I think everyone knows where, or maybe that's projecting, where it's like you can actually allegedly take yourself somewhere else through meditation. But yeah, friend of the show, well, not really friend, inspiration of the show, and meditator David Lynch is not doing so well. And he really is, and what I love this so much about him, but I think one of my favorite movies of all time, and yeah, it's probably like hack film bro, whatever, I don't know, I just need to stop this, but it's an amazing movie, I think, no matter which way you spin it. Mulholland Drive, love that movie. But David Lynch, we can talk about him on this podcast, the Canadian Entertainment Podcast, because that story, Mulholland Drive, is the story. He made it the whole plot about Canadian entertainment. It's about a lady who travels from Deep River, Ontario, Canada, to Los Angeles to pursue entertainment. I think that is, so it's a Canadian story. And it's a very beautiful Canadian story. It's scary, one of the scariest. It is the story of Canadian entertainment. If this is the Canadian Entertainment Podcast, well, Mulholland Drive is the Canadian entertainment movie, because unfortunately that can happen to people sometimes. And everyone, it can happen to anyone, but is a Canadian entertainment horror story specifically, because the main character, I believe, is from Deep River, Ontario, and they go to Los Angeles to pursue acting, and I don't know. It's scary to think about. Anyways, yeah, he's not doing so well. I guess he smoked since a young age, and he's really having trouble breathing right now. He's also a meditator, and has really told people to meditate. I really gotta get back meditating, because now I've really just been obsessed with playing the piano, and then also playing chess.com. I'm not even playing Settlers of Catan no more. Oh God. I was playing Settlers of Catan Cities and Nights Edition, but I'm off of that for a bit. Then chess.com. King's Financial opening is a strategy I use if you ever want to play. But it's okay. We need a chess.ca, right? Ain't that the truth? I'm sorry. There's so much there, we're just having fun. I just, Yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh man, all these things I've been thinking about that I haven't been saying to anyone for a couple of weeks. yeah, I guess I'll just say them on this podcast because I stopped going to therapy, so I could pay car insurance payments on 1996 Plymouth Breeze. But don't worry, it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, yeah, just been feeling obsessed a little bit with playing the piano, aka playing a keyboard. And I've been obsessed on Facebook Marketplace. These are cool obsessions. But I don't know if an adult person should have these should experience obsession. Yeah. Recently someone near and dear in my life proposed that maybe I have a certain mental illness. So I went on idrlabs.com and I answered honestly, and I may just have that thing. However, who knows, man? What does that mean? But I just need to talk to my doctor who moved. Be like, hey, what's going on there? I'm not. This all sounds a lot. Yeah. This just reminds me of when sometimes a comedian. Maybe this is a thing a couple of years ago. They go on stage and they talk about something like really serious or whatever. And they're just like, yeah, this is just therapy for me, right? Say that on stage. I feel like I've done that probably when I was in Humber. And afterwards. Yeah. Yep. But it's going to be okay. I have my mantra that I came up with that I don't think I am allowed to say, but you know what? I don't know. I gotta stop being so superstitious. I've always been a little superstitious. Superstitious of the number 13 since I was a kid. And then there's a couple of years as a kid where I carried around a figurine in my pocket. A smiley face figurine. He's a rubber smiley face figurine. I carried him around in my pocket. His name, and I called him Mr. Kurt. And to people, maybe I told people about this. I was like, wanted to be like, no, that's just coincidental that I picked the name Kurt, but I was also obsessed with Kurt Cobain at the time. But I carried him around in my pocket, thinking that if I carried him around, that nothing bad would happen. Yeah, that's pretty weird. But maybe other people did that too. I'm not trying to be like super unique or whatever. I don't know if this is releasable. Yep. It's okay. It's okay. I got it. And also as like I've been listening to my voice on these headphones here, it's very low. It's like, what's going on? Maybe I'm talking, but I was singing a lot at this Beachmen concert, so maybe that's a reason why. Yeah. Yesterday I was obsessively going to thrift stores and value villages, thinking I would find a 4-track recorder. It felt like gambling. It's like it's like I know I'm not doing anything wrong here, but it felt like I was chasing something, you know? Hoping I was chasing something. It felt like it felt inappropriate or weird, destructive or something. Just felt like gambling, you know? Cuz yeah, I it felt like I was getting some sort of rush, you know, by going to Value Villages and hoping to find a 4-track recorder. But maybe that's just maybe the pursuit of maybe going on a quest is totally fine. I don't know. I think the answer is I need to crack open my Meditation for Dummies book once again and just really do some stuff. I'm sorry if this episode's boring, but sometimes, you know, people say that some people accuse Canada of being boring. So maybe that is just I am just this is just something very natural. Maybe this is when people say that some people have accused Canadian entertainment of being boring. So maybe this is just like natural, right? I don't know if you're bored. Yeah. But I hope you're not. Yeah. I hope you're doing okay. The Canadian entertainment, the world of Canadian entertainment continues to spin as it always has and it always will. We are aware of there are so many things going on in Canadian entertainment right now. Saturday Night Live season 50 is full pedal to the metal right now. Of course, that's a Canadian show by Canadian Lorne Michaels. They released a second Domingo sketch on the Charlie XCX episode. I watched it. I watched most of it, and yes, I do find the sketch funny. I like Charlie XCX. She's British, of course, but as we've discussed in other episodes, British also equals Canadian because we have the same people on the back of our money, and money rules the world. It does in some ways, in lots of ways. So, yeah. So, yes, so a Canadian was hosting, and I gotta check that out, but I couldn't check it out because I was watching Beach Men, the Beach Boys, the Canadian Beach Boys covered band, play a show, and they rocked the house. They played a lot of hits, and it was crazy because they even said on stage that the Beach Boys, Mike loves the Beach Boys with Bruce, who did backup vocals on God Only Knows. They were performing in Niagara Falls on the same night. So there was a huge Canadian Beach Boys. It was a huge Canadian Beach Boys night Saturday for Canadians. Canada had the Beach Boys and one of Canada's best Beach Boys cover bands. And there's probably at least, Canada's so big that there's probably at least 2 to 3 more Beach Boys cover bands or another Beach Boys touring member in Canada performing a show that night. That's how far the Canadian Beach Boys movement goes. Yeah. Yeah. So, yep. I love the Beach Boys. And it's okay that they're not totally Canadian. However, the state that they're from is awfully not too far away from British Columbia. That's all I'm going to say. It's in the same time zone. That's all I'm going to say. So that it essentially nearly makes them Canadian. But they're a very cool band, and I really like them. And you know what? I don't know if this is also correlated, but I've also, and this happened to me a couple of years ago, I've been getting into Phish a little bit. PHISH, the infamous jam band from Vermont. I've been getting into them. And I don't know if, like, when I listen to Phish, I become less funny as a person. I don't know if there's a correlation there. So maybe I need to cut that out. But I do like some of their stuff. I really do. I don't know if what I think I have nothing against Phish. And you know what? Maybe I would like to defend them in a court of law maybe one day. I would like to be given that opportunity. Even though there's many people who could do that job better than I'm not trying to be down on myself, but there's a lot more hardcore Phish people. I actually only like about 1 out of 27 Phish songs, I would say, is what I like. But they have some really interesting songs that I really am captivated by in a magnificent way. Yep. This is a clipless episode thus far. This is just one big clip. I think if I release this as a clip on Instagram or TikTok, my account would be taken down. I have noticed recently when I do release a when I do release an Instagram reel, I drop about 7, honest to God, probably about 5 followers. Even if it gets good traction. I get it, man. I get it. I'm just another content farm. I really do enjoy making videos. I really love it. But I could see how it could be annoying to people who've been following me since high school or something. You're like, oh, I did not sign up for this. So I get it, right? I really do get it. But then I'm like, oh, I hope that you just unfollowed me because you couldn't stand my content, not because you hate me. But maybe my content makes you hate me, which is okay. But yeah, content wars. Not enough memory on compute. I had a hard drive break on me recently, which had a lot of videos and stuff over the years. Had a lot of unreleased projects. And it would cost a lot of money to fix, so I'm not fixing it, but I'm holding on to it. But sometimes I do wonder if in the next... I don't want to make it happen, but if internet ever goes down or whatever, social media ever goes down, some of these things that I've deleted off computers to free up space, I wonder if they will just become Canadian lost media, and that is really cool, actually. So that is one good thing about when people say that everything on the internet lasts forever. I want to say I hope so, because I've been deleting a lot of hard copy versions of my TikToks and my Instagram reels to free up space on my phone and on my computer. So I hope that everything on the internet lasts forever, because I may be calling you one day to be asking you for a hard copy of that if the server that all my Instagram reels are in California ever gets corrupted or vandalized or kicked by a crack smoking parrot with a poopy diaper. Oh, I got myself laughing again. I think I have found, and you know what this is a lesson in, is you have to remember what makes you laugh, what made your previous guests laugh, and maybe I should be doing this more on stage, but yes, I think sometimes I also feel like I'm getting out of touch. I don't know what's funny anymore, or what I think is funny isn't unique, or I'm not unique, or I'm just hack. But let's not forget about what makes me laugh and what makes other people laugh when it comes out of my mouth these days, and that is jokes about diapers and farting and bitch poo humor. That's what I've had. That's my new era. This is my new era, and that's all. That is, I've learned. That is that is a parrot with a poopy diaper. Oh, I don't even know this. Yeah, sometimes I watch old videos of myself and I really cringe, and I'm like, okay, maybe I thought this was funny at the time. I wonder how fast, because they say humor does not age well. So I wonder if that type of stuff will age well. But that type of stuff is kind of funny, all because it's something that humans have not been able to eliminate yet. So, Yep, this is crazy. This is a crazy episode. But we gotta laugh. We gotta laugh out of the host. I need a second brain. Sometimes it's like, yeah, what if my brain is storage over? It kind of feels that way. It kind of feels like I've reached the storage capacity, and every time I want to put something new, or I'm working on a big project or something, my brain is just automatically deleting skills. It's deleting memories. It's deleting other things. So this is why I want a second brain, and that is what I should be looking for on Facebook Marketplace. But like a copy of this brain, but just with a bit less stuff in it, Like I don't want someone else's brain, but I just want, and yes, removes, I know this goes against everything, but remove, I guess, celiac disease. I want to try Tim Hortons donuts. I really do. There's a time where I could eat Tim Hortons donuts pre my diagnosis, which I can't even tell you what year that was, because that goes against one of my biggest rules, where I can't reveal my age because the rampant ageism in the Canadian entertainment industry, specifically the Canadian podcast and entertainment industry. Anyways, but I do, even for one day, if we could remove celiac disease, I would like to try some of the donuts at Tim Hortons, because I do have a couple memories of trying some of those. Back in the day, I was a chocolate glaze guy, pre-diagnosis. Those are some good times. Occasionally get a vanilla dip. Those were the two ones I kind of rocked with, and an old-fashioned glaze. Yep. And it's okay. There's so many things you could still eat as a celiac, but maybe one day we'll find a cure, and that is one of the first things I will do. I will eat those. I will eat those in a magnificent way. I have the potential of releasing some of the most boring and uncharismatic podcast clips ever to be recorded. I should really go hard on clipping up this episode. Like, I'm thinking there's 12 out of here. Yeah, this has happened multiple times in my life where I've been like, oh man, maybe I lost my funny. Sorry to do this to you guys. And I know, like, maybe this is a horrible thing to release just career-wise. No, but I will say, despite like, I don't know. Despite this being a little weird, uh, um, I've still been getting laughs on stage. So, just so you know, the producer, the gatekeeper, decision makers, CBC, CTV, Bell Media, CP24, CKCO, News Talk 1010, Funny 820. It's not. See that? I recently learned that Funny 820 is no longer a station on AM radio anymore because the Plymouth Breeze only plays AM radio. So a big pillar in the Canadian comedy community has crumbled. So rest in peace, Funny 820. We miss you oh so dearly. And I know I truthfully have so much to be grateful for, so much to be thankful for. Maybe I was just thankful for too much at Canadian Thanksgiving this year. I got really thankful up. And then I just, and I seriously do. I seriously have so much to be thankful for. I'm a lucky guy in many ways. I was just born with a broken brain, like Scarecrow. And honestly, not even the most broken brain. So let's be thankful for that. But you know what? I don't know if I've ever gone an MRI of my brain. I don't even know if there's a brain up there. They have never checked. And I should be able to walk in a hospital, Canadian hospital after this, and say, I want to make sure there's a brain up there. Scarecrow was able to walk and talk too. He was able to walk and talk too. He was able to sing. He was able to dance. That's essentially all the thing. I'm not sure that I have a brain up there. I could have exactly what Scarecrow had. I think I have Scarecrow syndrome. It's possible. I've never seen if I actually have a brain. So I actually maybe don't even want 2 brains. I just want 1 brain, a Facebook Marketplace, similar to whatever's going on there, whatever the air is producing in my skull right now. I'd like them to form a brain with some of that. Yeah. And you know what? Lots of people say, I'm trying not to complain, but this whole episode's been, I don't know what this episode's been. It's not been complaining, it's been something. But, this is very reminiscent of this is like a throwback to the first episode, first couple episodes. Which it's so interesting that I decided to release that, as that's the most listened to episode, and I understand why there was a certain drop off. Imagine the first Hog has, yeah. I was just wondering if Hawk talked to if she's ever released an episode like this. Yep, I so easily become my own Canadian entertainment enemy. But I'm trying not to be that way. I hope you appreciate me talking this out with you. This is a serious episode. This is like when Robin Williams was in a serious film. It's like Robin Williams in 1 Hour Photo or Patch Adams or Insomniac. Right? This is Jim Carrey in The Number 23, right? Sometimes this sort of thing happens, right? And that is legal under Canadian entertainment podcast law. Yeah. Yes. I know sometimes it's more exciting. The rantings and ravings of a madman. Yeah. Yep. But you know what? I will say this. sometimes I'm just having so many some obsessive thoughts that I feel like I'm not always tuning into how I feel. I don't know. You can look back and you be like, what was I doing, or how was it? You know? Yep. But I do feel like my piano playing's I getting really good at that, or a lot better than it was. God bless Robin Hatch. Robin Hatch, amazing keyboard player. A couple of years ago, Robin Hatch said, "Hey Ben, do you want this keyboard?" And I said, "Yes." And it quite literally changed my life, because I wasn't playing keyboard for years. I played it in his childhood, and I've now been obsessively kind of playing it, and I think I've actually gotten a lot better of it, and I kind of understand the instrument a bit more. Not saying I'm the greatest keyboard of all time, but that is one positive. But at the same time, it's like, I think to myself, it's like, I feel like what people like from me, in my mind, sometimes is funny videos, funny things. So I'm like, oh, when I get so music obsessed, I'm like, are you self-sabotaging yourself? I wonder to myself. However, you gotta wonder these things. So that's why I like to broadcast myself as a bit of an entertainer. But maybe I'm also the king of Canadian self-sabotage. But maybe that is it would be very extreme thinking, or very mighty thinking, to think so highly, to think I could be the king of that, because I'm sure there's other people who self-sabotage way more than I have in Canada. I'm sure there have been a couple. Probably Don Cherry comes to mind. He comes to mind. He threw it all away. But and there's a lot of our people in Canada who made very poor decisions. But I'm not saying this is a poor decision, but you know what? It's just sometimes it becomes obsessive, and I'm like, well, maybe I'm not working on the thing I should be working on. I brought this up in episode 1. This is a real throwback. There's lots of rhymes. There's a lot of rhymes in episode 1 as episode 18. This is the Stagger Saga. This is kind of like the reboot. This is kind of like the Rise of Skywalker and A New Hope. They made it rhyme. So episode 18 actually rhymes a lot with episode 1. That's what you'll find out. So yeah, it's crazy that this podcast experience is like probably 18 more episodes than Star Wars mainline Skywalker saga films. So I've really put in some work in this podcast. So the tone is allowed to change for this episode at least once. I remember when I released the episode 1 of the podcast, sometimes I feel like when I release a piece of content or whatever online, I could be like very obsessive, word of the day, and like rewatch it and be like, is this funny? Is this good? And like I have to rewatch it. I rewatched the very first episode of this podcast multiple times, and it's very like similar vibe, I would say. And you could not pay me Imagine re-listening to this is all I'll say. I'm not saying that this is a bad product. I just gotta be real in my Canadian entertainment podcast journey. And I guess maybe this has been funny without making me laughing in some ways, but maybe it's been not funny at all. I just at the very least hope it hasn't been boring. I hope it's been somewhat entertaining for y'all. Right? I don't know. Imagine it. I released this as a 3-hour episode. Yeah. Is this the type of thing that you shouldn't release you should not release to the world because I don't think I've said anything too crazy. It just might be a little weird. A little bit of something you don't want everyone to see. But, I don't want to say we don't have incredibly massive, it's not, you are a loyal fan base, but you are very intimate. I will say that. But there's a good amount of you. I will never release the numbers, but you're intimate. You're our diehards, and I appreciate that with the bottom of my heart. And some. But you know what? I'm glad I was able to get a couple things off my chest here. At the very least, I hope this was entertaining, right? This is what this podcast is about. This is a form of Canadian entertainment. Confession. Spilling. Telling the world how you feel, right? And at the very least, I just hope it wasn't boring. That's what yeah. Yeah, I've just been very sensitive these days and very easily able to fall into like spirals of not negative thinking, negative thought loops. So yeah, I just need to talk it out a little bit, right? It's kind of embarrassing sometimes, like imagine like just talking to a friend like this. But I'm not trying to say that I'm not even I don't want to not have hope because there's a lot of things I am excited for. I'm not saying that I don't believe that the future is bleak at all. There's a lot of things in my life that I'm excited about. I just feel like I've been in a scared, not as quick-witted, sort of interesting mood recently. But there's a lot of things that I am looking forward to, and I seriously, yeah. So I don't want to seem ungrateful at all because I'm very grateful for, this is so crazy. I'm very grateful for, the life I have. I know that there are, the world can be a very cruel place. So I know I have a good life. So I don't want to sound ungrateful. Because I'm not. I feel very grateful. I've just been going through a number of mental arguments in my head against myself. Me versus me. And I'd pay to see that on Netflix. That'd be cool. Instead of Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, we have me doing this podcast, or we have an MRI technician doing a brain scan to see if I have anything up there at all, but maybe there's just two people fighting. And it is maybe there's two people fighting, and it is and there's two people fighting, and my brain is and it is Moana and Anthony Hopkins. It is Moana and Anthony Hopkins fighting in my brain. Yeah, that's one thing I sometimes I think I do have an ability to say some funny things, but sometimes I think the length of time it takes me to find that thing is not quick enough. So, and you know what? Sometimes I think on stage, just naturally, people, when they're watching comedy, they just want to keep on being reassured, like, as a human instinct. So they want to, like, the measure of laughs is better, but sometimes I just wish I could do some very slow improv, because I feel like I can come up with a funny thought. It can take me around 50 to 120 seconds to come up with a thought that's willing to make some people laugh. And what do you do when you want to make people laugh and you want to make people sing? What do you do? But what do you do when you want to put a separation between the laughy and singy? What do you do with that? It's not a bad problem to have, but sometimes I wonder if it's not that I'm not focused. It's sometimes I just focus on one thing intensely at a time and focus on another thing intensely at a time, but never focus on one thing intensely enough for a long period of time. And maybe I keep on flopping back and forth to these two things. I know I'm not the first person to do these things. I know about the other guys, right? But sometimes I wonder, we get older every day, and I wonder, as I do these things, as I focus hard on one thing, but maybe I feel like I'm not getting far enough, or I'm not, time goes by quick. Like, maybe I'm missing out on, like, maybe I should be learning how to sell cars, or maybe I'm missing out on time to learn how to sell cars. Because I don't want to give up. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. I will not give up on the pursuit of Canadian entertainment. I'm just heavily focused on playing a keyboard not in a Bo Burnham type way. I love him, actually. I really love him. No hate at all, but I'm not trying. No. He is the art. He's the architect. But in a different... No, maybe in an exact type of that way. But not at all. But in a different... Yeah. An interesting story maybe I leave you off on, because we're literally running out of time. It's a couple of years ago. I was on Spotify, and I saw that Phoebe Bridgers released a new song, and I was like, whoa, I really like this. I literally think that Phoebe Bridgers, this is like her, like a Rolling Stone. Like, these lyrics are so intelligent. This is like, I think this is like Smells Like Teen Spirit. This is so, or like, this is just like a cultural, this is like a cultural reworking. This is a cultural moment. And I texted a friend about it, and I was like, this is insane. This is the best. I cannot believe how good this is. This is like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan. And they were like, oh, that's actually a cover of a Bo Burnham song called That Funny Feeling. And I was like, oh, okay. So maybe I told on myself. Maybe that was, but don't get me wrong, buddy. I love Phoebe. And I really got into her after that. But Spotify just said, you gotta hear this song, this original song by Phoebe Bridgers, That Funny Feeling. But I really got into her after that. I think she has some amazing lyrics, but for some reason, I was like, dude, wow. And then I found out. And I wasn't into Bo Burnham before. I literally wasn't into Bo Burnham before I heard That Funny Feeling. I was like, damn, son. I love that song. Is that embarrassing to admit? You tell me. Hopefully no one listens to this, but I gotta release it for the Canadian Entertainment Podcast fans. Was this should we do no edits? I think the answer is yes. Was this crazy? Yeah, and you know what's even worse? You know when like someone's like, this is so unhinged of me, but it's like really not unhinged at all. I'm not even trying to sound like that. I just know that there's a bit of a tonal shift, and this is a throwback to the first episode. So thank you so much for sticking it all the way through. I feel like I could go on for about an hour. This is just me rambling. I at the very least hope it wasn't boring. I hope it wasn't too embarrassing, but we must release this because we haven't released an episode for a while. But I really love you, Canadian Entertainment Podcast fans, and for the listeners who made it to the very end of this episode, I commend you, and you should be given a Canadian Medal of Honor, or Canadian Entertainment Medal of Honor, or Canadian Entertainment Medal, the Order of Canada, the Order of Canadian Entertainment, the Order of I'm not firing on all cylinders today, but that's okay. Yep. No, but this is okay. And this is all okay. We go through, it's not like, I honestly don't want anyone to be like, oh, you just sometimes you get into a little like mental scrap with yourself, being like, what am I doing right now, right? But there's a lot of things to look forward to. Hilarity Strikes tour show, end of tour show, November 23rd. Very funny show in Waterloo, Ontario. Kitchener, Ontario. At Sugar Run this Wednesday as well. And then the Buskers are back. Sam Burns, Veronica Slowakowska, Ben Stagger, December 20th, the Royal Theatre in Toronto. And hopefully some other places, perform at some other places. And yeah. Yep. Sometimes you're just wondering, am I focusing on the wrong thing, right? But is that a bad problem? I don't know. Oh God, you know what? I just want to say one more thing. Sometimes, I'm like, I don't want to speak these words into the universe. I don't want to negatively manifest anything. But sometimes I just feel like I gotta get over all that sort of stuff because I'm not feeling hopeless at all. I'm just going through, and this was amazing to talk to you about. I just want a brain, right? If I only had a brain. I know I potentially have one, but I'm not sure because I haven't had a MRI. But I'm not trying. No, I'm not. I think I most likely have a brain, but yes, I just need to learn how to use it. I just need to meditate again. That is the answer. Yeah, but it's all good. It is all good, and thank you very much for tuning in. You guys are too real. You guys are too awesome. Thank you so much. Huh. Ta-da. Huh. Yes. Yeah, okay. We have to end this now. We have to end this episode right now. This was awesome. Sometimes I'm the type of person where it's like, grab the mic out of this man's hand, you know? But we must end it right here. Thank you all for tuning in once again. You guys rock. And we will be back soon with a guest. And do you like solo episodes? Let us know. And was this episode too crazy? And did you make it all the way to the end? Let us know as well. And let us know what you want to see in the entertainment career, in the Canadian entertainment career. Let us know as well. Thank you guys, and we'll talk to you very soon. Bye for now.